Well, hello. Did you miss us, people? Well, here we are.
Let me back up like this. My head is like this. Like a giant egg.
I told you were looking like an alien with those filters.
Well, we're back. We're, back with the Still Dope podcast. We're bringing some new content. We're kind of switching things around and trying to talk about a host of things instead of just focusing on one thing. Since you all are familiar with us talking about Married at First Sight, we're just going to end this nightmare of a season, Married at First Sight Denver. We're just going to put it to rest, RIP, and move on and hope that Chicago brings us something a little bit better, but I'm not getting my hopes up. So, Shahida, Chris, anything y'all want to say on the Married at First Sight Denver before we move on?
Well, go ahead, Shahida. You want to say something?
I have nothing to say. I didn't watch the last 2 episodes. When Vanessa was on here the last time and we said we were done, I meant that. I meant it. I was done.
Yeah.
I've seen the clips of the reunion, but other than that, you all are going to have to tell me what happened.
It's just, let's just move on from, there's nothing really more to say to recap it. They all hate each other. Everyone hates each other. Everyone doesn't respect each other. Everyone's lying.
So the women hate the other women, or is it just the women hating the men hating the women?
Women hate the men. The men can't stand the women. No one's together. No one really cares for one another. Even Chloe with the rest of the girls, she's having a little issue with the rest of the girls because I like Chloe personally. Out of all of them, Chloe to me was like, what's his name? Michael, right? Is that his name?
One that she was married to? Yeah.
I don't know why he was on that damn show. After the first time he got rejected, he should have not done it back again. He wasn't ready to be married. I don't know why he wasted his time doing. It's the whole thing was really a waste of a season. I'm kind of disappointed in the fact that it was just awful. So yeah. Let's just leave that as it is.
My thoughts, and we spoke about this offline, was I watched the second reunion only to see, literally I didn't watch it, I just fast forwarded to the professionals, Pastor Cal, Pia, and what's the Dr. Pepper. And of course I was underwhelmed and disappointed because I was just waiting for them to get on there and just basically go in on these people, like, you're frauds, you're this. Kevin Frazier handled it. Like, he basically told them his feelings about that. But I just expected a little bit more from the professionals. I hope Lifetime never brings them back. I hope that this is the last we see of these people. I don't think they deserve, like, next year, when the next season Chicago starts, how they have those prediction shows and they bring former cast members on. I don't think they should ever be allowed to come back and participate in that involves Married at First Sight. They should not be able to make a profit off of that. And they should not be able to have a platform. That's just my personal opinion. I'll be very disappointed if they bring them back, especially Emily. She's the worst. And that's all I've got to say. I hope that Chicago is a little bit better, but I just saw a preview of the new Chicago season, so it's already filmed. So as far as them making any changes, I don't see that. I think from after Chicago, whatever's next, we'll probably see changes, but I don't think we're going to see any significant changes in Chicago because it looks like it's already filmed.
They even make the changes, because we have been screaming this for what? At least a good 5 to 6 seasons,
Yeah.
you know. So, and they have not changed any of the format. The only thing that they change is bringing back people who were already broke up,
Yeah.
which we didn't want to see.
Because they had no one left.
But that's not just, yeah. So
They had no content. They, had 3. It was just ridiculous. It was a really bad. I want to know when UK is coming back. I miss UK. I miss the Manafort site UK.
UK is out, but it's not on Lifetime anymore. It's on YouTube. You have to search for it hard on YouTube.
So, Chris,
Those
did
are
you
good.
watch
I mean, Australia and UK are good.
the Korean show that Tanya and I told you to watch?
The Korean what?
The Korean dating show that Tanya and I told you to watch.
No.
What's the name of it again? Tanya, you just finished.
Singles Inferno is one, and then Love After Divorce.
Love After Divorce was absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. I wanted you guys to talk about it.
It was really good. So I'm just saying, we have so many more options. This was trash, and if they even start out like this next season, I'm dropping them. I'm not going to waste my time like I did this season. This was ridiculous for a reality show. They should know how to do better. But anyway,
well,
so rest in peace. Rest in peace, Denver.
Denver.
May we never see you again.
Yes, never. So on to what's going on in the TikTok world. We got to talk about Miss Morgan Bailey. We know you're not familiar with her, so I'll just give you a little bit of background. So a while ago, I'm thinking, it's been a minute. This young lady.
It's been a while. She started like about a year ago.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's about a year. Young lady by the name of Morgan Bailey got up on TikTok and started talking about she had a baby with this guy. She calls him the random man in Atlanta. She got pregnant with
the random man from Atlanta.
The random man from Atlanta. She got pregnant. I guess they broke up. She moved back to Michigan with her family, and she started doing these series about, ladies, take your birth control and da 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 da. She ended up getting like this really huge following in such a short amount of time. People were like loving her content. She was, doing videos with her and her daughter Gigi, and it was really good. Like I was following her for a little while.
Let me interject one thing. Her platform was basically how she, as a single woman, was raising her child with no help from this random man from Atlanta. How he basically didn't even come to see her when she gave birth to their baby. He just completely dropped her. Turns out he ended up having like 7 baby mamas. She didn't know about the other baby mamas, so she claimed. I think she knew about maybe like 2, but not all 7. I can see all 7. I don't know if they're all in the same state. So she built her platform on, look at me carrying these like 1,600 bags because I don't have a man to help me with my baby, but the random man from Atlanta. So she built that platform. And so a lot of people, recognize that their struggle in her.
Yeah, but why would you have a child with someone?
And she's 20. She was 20 when she got pregnant with the baby.
Yeah, she's 23 now. I think she was
22. So she was 21
or 22 when she had the baby.
My issue already is, why aren't women choosing their partners better if you're going to have a child with somebody?
Oh, let Tanya finish. Because wait, you're going to really flip out if that's your question.
All right. So with regards to you touched upon the 7, we found out that he had all of these baby mamas because she blew up on TikTok so quickly. Now, a couple of the baby mamas came to TikTok and was like, oh my God, I'm a baby mama. I have a baby with him, da, 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 da. So anyway, he decides to get on TikTok, the random man from Atlanta.
And he never knew his name.
Nope. He puts himself on there, and now he starts talking and giving his little stories. So I don't want to get all into particular. I just want to get into the newest shit. So apparently he's been blowing her phone up or whatever. The last video I saw of her, she was trying to give the explanation. So I guess
She wanted him back.
She started getting fired because now all of a sudden she started putting videos. He came back and she gave him like 30 grand. That's alleged, like allegedly gave him 30 grand. Go ahead, Shahida.
Oh no, I was listening. Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you wanted to say something. Oh yeah, she allegedly gave him 30 grand because I guess he helped her out with, when she got her car stolen. And I guess she went to Atlanta because she also has family in Atlanta. And I guess he let her use his car. And I guess he, let her use some other things while she was there. I don't know about the 30 grand, but whatever. So now they started doing videos. Like when she was posting her content, he's there and he's like in the background and all of this. And she's like, people are now going in on her because they're like, I can't believe you're giving this man a platform and all of that. So I'm like,
after you built up this platform for yourself that was making so much money.
Yeah. And they were going on live. Like she didn't have to work. She was like getting like all free stuff. She was getting paid. Then they were doing these TikTok lives and literally having like arguments on TikTok live. It was just kind of toxic. And then he put some revenge porn out on his TikTok page of her, giving the old the BJ.
Slobbing the knob.
Slobbing the knob. Licking the stick. Doing that. So then she had to go online. People were just like, dude, Morgan, you're so messy. Why did you even entertain this dude? And why did you give him a platform? Because now he has a big following on his TikTok and he's monetizing right now on TikTok.
Oh.
That's why people
really?
Because they're like, why would you give him? No one knew who he was. He could have put himself on TikTok. I mean, it's a free country, but it's like, why would you give him a platform? Why would you put him in your videos and stuff? And I get it, he's the kid's father, but I'm like, dude, let you do your own stuff. I think it's a shame.
He's not that attractive.
No, I'm glad you saw it. No, he's not. And he sounds illiterate. He has that, you know how like, and I feel like some Southerners do this, especially from Atlanta. They do that slow drawl speak and they don't enunciate or anything. Educated people don't do that. But I do notice a certain group do. And it just burns my ears. But my thing with her, they raked her over the coals. And when he put out that video of her going down on him, and then she did that video and you could clearly see she had been crying and she was trying to put the makeup on and whatever, and there was nothing in the makeup thing. My thing is, she's 21. I freaking get it. And the people coming for her so hard, even like what you said, Chris, why don't people choose better? Sometimes when you're young and dumb and just completely stupid and somebody comes in like him, I don't know how he sweet talked her, but he did. And then people saying that, oh, well, she only went back to him because she comes from a 2-parent home. And so she just wants that family. It has nothing to do with Gigi so much as that man has stigmatized her and she wants him. And because he has been so resistant to being with any woman, that makes him more of a challenge to her. I hope that she has learned her lesson, because who has not chased a man that did not want? I know I have. And part of the reason for chasing a man that that did not want me is because it was such a challenge. And then don't put other women on top of it. Like, it was a challenge. And when you're young, you go for those challenges. When you're older, you be like, I got like a Rasta over here. I don't need you. So I get where she's coming from, but I hope she learned. I'm not even going to say anything too harsh because I feel like the internet dragged her enough. I hope she's learned. That man has nothing but hate for you, girl. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't have anything for you.
Yeah. And the fact that it's playing out on the internet, I worry for the child. Because what they're doing is reckless. And that revenge porn video and her coming back and crying and all of that, I'm just like, girl, you need to take a beat and sit down somewhere and just let people miss you. Like, ghost the internet for some time, because
But she can't,
what I
because
don't
that's her
want is
issue.
Child Protective Services getting involved. Because I mean, she's got her business out there, and when they're doing these lives, when they were doing these lives, it's like, where's the kid? Like, I know, I get it, babies go to sleep and stuff, but I'm like,
Yeah.
you got your business out there, you're drinking. You know, what if somebody is like, I fear for this child, and calls Child Protective Services? You better watch yourself.
Yeah, and that would be a stretch, because I do think she's a good mom. You know,
Yeah.
she definitely was when she was in Michigan, not messing around with this clown. But anyway,
Yeah.
so we can move on, because poor Chris is lost.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
looking at her.
You're
I'm
looking
looking at her thing. First of all, she's cute. I don't know why she's messing with dude. I mean, for her, she's
Family.
cute.
Yeah.
But my also the issue is like, then why would you have women need to choose better their partners, or vet their partners better, or not have sex with them, or wear protection, or was this a mistake, or was she on?
Is getting pregnant a mistake when you over 20? I don't think so. I think because it's birth control is just too out there. You don't have no reason to have no mistake pregnancies.
Exactly.
Yeah,
not like me. I had 3
no
oops.
such thing.
So choose better.
Yeah, well,
choose
that
better.
could be said for a lot of relationships, not just because they're young. I mean, Jesus, it's crazy. Yeah, I stopped following her on TikTok because it was just too much for me. But she still pops up on my timeline every once in a while, and I'm just like, oh my God. And then of course other people that I follow her, and they talk about it, so it pops up. And that's how I heard about the revenge porn. I didn't see it, so I just kept hearing about it, and I was like, oh my God, like, I can't believe he did that, but I can. Anyway,
he put out revenge porn.
He did.
Oh, he did.
I don't think you can find it.
I don't think
it was on TikTok.
There. I don't think it's on there anymore. I think it got taken down. But yeah, he posted it. Well, that's it for Morgan Bailey. But on to the next topic of discussion. What the hell was Netflix thinking with this reboot?
You all watch?
Watch what?
The reboot of Good Times, the animated version of Good Times on Netflix. I want to know how that was okayed. Let me just say this. For purposes for this podcast, I wanted to at least see it. I put on the first episode yesterday. And I couldn't stomach I didn't even get past the intro, like the opening intro of the show. I shut it down real quick because I thought I was going to throw a brick at my TV. Why?
I'm ready.
Go.
Ready. Did you watch it, Chris?
I saw the clips. I tried it before it was even on Netflix. I've been discussing with friends of mine because we were on the voice server doing voiceovers and stuff like that. And with JB Smooth and Yvette Lee Bowser, I mean,
I was stunned.
And we had a discussion amongst my friends, and we're going, even before it came out, the previews, we were like, what? Why would you even sign on to the JB Smooth? Is in it?
Wanda Sykes.
Wanda.
Done.
Steph Curry is an executive producer.
Done.
Seth MacFarlane created it, and we all know him from Family Guy. But I'm like,
and Norman Lear signed off on it.
Yeah,
like that stunned me. Okay, I have a couple of points for it because I did watch. I watched 9 of the 10 episodes.
Oh wow!
I did. I mean, I won't say I paid attention to it completely. Some of it was just having it background or whatever, but I wanted to watch it to see what the hoopla was about because like you, when I saw the clips, I was like, ooh, this is not good. That's just not good. So the opening for season 1 is Reggie. He's the son of one of the children, but I still haven't figured out, or did I miss, whose child is he? Now, you all remember the last episode of Good Times. JJ went to work for an architecture company.
Yeah.
He was an architect at that point. Plus, his artwork was being commissioned, right? Thelma was a dancer.
Ernie Barnes.
Huh?
Shout out to Ernie Barnes.
Exactly. Thelma was a dancer. Her husband, Keith, had signed on with the Chicago Bears. Remember? He was hurt, and then all of a sudden he worked it out and he got signed. They moved to Michigan Ave. And Michael, who was going to go live with them, decided, you know what? I'm going to stay on campus because he was in college. All of them were doing well and leaving the projects. So you mean to tell me that one of their children, because they don't tell you which one it is, one of their children is doing so poorly that they end up back in the same apartment that they grew up in? One of their children? Can't be. One child is, okay, Junior, who is Reggie's junior. He's sleeping on the couch like Michael and Michael and JJ were. He's sleeping on a pull-out couch. They have a daughter, Gray. She's the militant like Michael was. And then they have a baby that sells drugs and can't live in the home because the father does not want a baby. He's like not even a year old, it looks like in this. No imagination. It's like they pulled out every stereotype that they could think of and said, let's go with it, down to the singing cockroach in the shower.
Oh.
Like it was hard to watch. And as I watched some of the episodes, I could see that they were trying to have like messages in some things, but no, there was so much that they could have done with this. Like when I look at the baby who's the drug dealer, he could have been like Stewie. He could have been like, how Stewie is the genius and nobody can understand him or whatever. How come you couldn't make him a genius fighting the FBI or something like that, trying to uplift the community, or make him a little there was just so much that they could have done, and they chose to be lazy. And I was really surprised that people like JB Smoove and what's her name? Not Wanda Sykes, the girl, whatever.
Bowser.
They would all sign off on that and defend it. Even Thelma does a voiceover in one of it, and she said she did not know when she did that voiceover for her character, and I don't know what character she is, so I'm going to have to look that up, that she had no idea it was going to be like this. And she was a little bit perturbed in her interview that it came out this bad.
I went right to Google while I was watching that little 10-minute intro, or 10-second intro, I should say, as much as I could stomach. I went right to Google and was like, the cast, because I'm like, I wanted to know who the voiceover actors were. And when I jaw hit the fucking floor when I saw JB Smoove, Wanda Sykes, Yvette Lee Bowser, and then what's her name's in it? Marcel from Blackish.
That's who I was thinking of. Yeah,
I can't pronounce her name, but she's on there, and I was like,
Marseille Martin.
Yeah, I was absolutely stunned because Marseille Martin, like as a kid actor and growing up, she always wanted. I've seen interviews with her where she always was talking about how she wants to portray a certain type of image as she grows in this business, and I'm like,
Jay Farrell.
Yep, Jay Farrell.
He's the
Cree Summer
Junior.
Cree Summer.
Mm-hmm.
You know Cree Summer.
Yeah, from Different World.
Yeah.
She's a great voiceover actor. Very successful. I just want to know.
Godfrey's in it too, which is interesting. Lil Rel Howery's in it. Heidi Gardner from Saturday Night Live.
Oh, I don't know her.
Yes, you do. She's on Saturday Night Live now.
Okay.
I just, I don't know. I just I'm like, did y'all see like a clip? Like, did they show you, like, tell you the story? I'm talking about the actors. I'm like, did they
Oh
like show you
yeah.
like a storyboard and like storylines of how this is gonna go? Because yeah, I'm not gonna watch any more of it. I don't like it. I don't
No,
like
and
the
they
premise.
better not. I don't see them renewing it.
Ego, no. What's her name from Saturday Night Live? The black girl from Saturday Night Live. She's in it.
Yeah.
Affion Crockett is in it. So there must have been something. There must have been some. My friend Gary Anthony Williams is in it too. I'll ask him next time we'll discuss it. I'll ask him what he thought of it. Tisha Campbell's in it.
Yeah, I thought I heard her voice, and because I was just watching the episode just now. I'm like, that sounds like Tisha Campbell.
My friend Phil Lamar is in it. I mean, I don't know.
What did they see? What did they read? And especially with Wanda Sykes. I'm sorry, I'm talking over myself, but she really surprised me.
She's in one episode.
I know, it doesn't matter. It was horrible.
Yeah.
The whole writing, and then to make it even worse, the Renata, what was her name? Renata Smith. She's the writer. She's African American. Renata Shepard, I think, is her name, and she's one of the producers, and she was in the writing room. You wrote this? This is
Renata
not good.
Shepard, yeah.
Yeah, this is not good. Why would you think this is funny? It was lazy. It was extremely lazy, and there were so many ways that they could have taken this, because we all know how it ended, and you could have had Michael's son coming back to it could have been funny still, coming back into the hood, or just don't do anything, just leave it.
Yeah,
that's like,
I wish they would have left it.
Them doing an upload of the Jeffersons, and now Lionel's kid is living back in George's old neighborhood. How? How? You all went on to professional lives.
Yeah.
So we can only have one generation.
Yeah, this is just as bad, or if not worse, than, remember the PJs back in the day on Fox that came out?
Mm-hmm.
I like the PJs.
I remember
why I like the PJs,
and I was just like, why?
Right, but you know what? It started there, right? It started, and they had. I mean, I thought they were good stories. Some of them, the crackhead was a little bit a lot, but he was funny, and it's the story started in the PJs, and that's what's his job. This starts with a whole family that did better and ends back up in the projects. It makes no sense. He's driving a cab. He's driving a cab. Where did you get your education, sir? Because no matter what, Florida and James were big on education. They insisted that JJ go to school and he get good grades. Yeah, we understand you're going to be an artist, but you got to graduate. Thelma and Michael, definitely education. So you mean to tell me that for all that education that they were pushing, one of the children doesn't get an education and ends up driving a cab? Nothing wrong with a cab driver, but a cab. And because I grew up with a family, their father was a cab driver. There was 11 kids. They had their own home. I don't understand it. Trash. It was trash. It was bad.
Trash. And the level of
on Rotten Tomatoes, by the way. Rotten Tomatoes, the average tomato meter, 17%. Audience score 28%. That is awful.
I would have thought it would have been lower than that.
That is awful.
They should be ashamed to have their names attached to it.
I was going to say that.
All I gotta say.
I don't know. I get it. You know, it's a job or whatever. But I'm like, what would make people like that, like Wanda Sykes Tisha Campbell.
Well, you have to understand. First of all, it's the show. It's being part of a reboot of a famous show. So, not knowing how it's really going to be shown, or if you just want to be a part of something that's bigger than something you grew up on and just be a part of it. I could see that. I could see why they would sign on for it. The finished product, though, I'm not exactly sure.
Don't you read the script before you sign on?
Not really. You sometimes only get your sides of what you're going to be, what your character is. You don't get to see what all 10 episodes are going to be like, or how it's going to be developed, or the other characters. You really read for your character, so you don't necessarily know what the whole thing is going to look like, what it's going to seem like. I'll talk to a couple of friends of mine and see what they, because I've already talked.
For you to come back and let us know what their interpretation was, if they agreed to that.
I already talked to a friend of mine, and he was like, I would not even be a part of. I think he turned it down, but he was like, I wouldn't even want to be a part of that. So,
yeah. And I haven't seen any interviews from any of the cast, like Wanda Sykes or JB Smoove, unless I missed it, of them talking about their role as, actors for that series. So I
haven't seen it either.
Curious as to see their thoughts. So Chris, definitely get back to us and let us know what your friends. That would be. I'm curious.
And it's really sad. It was so disrespectful to the whole franchise.
Yeah. And the fact that Norman Lear signed off on it, I'm like,
yeah,
what? That's your legacy, bro. Like, the fuck?
Yeah.
Anyway, well, since we're on the Ratchet train,
showrunner Renata Shepard explains her creative choices, which she said had Norman Lear's stamp of approval. Just give it a second and look at the stories, and you'll understand. That's what she says.
Yeah,
and I think this is what I mean when I said that's why I watched as many as I could, and I saw where they were trying to go, but the execution was extremely poor, and it was unimaginative. There was no creativity at all in it, and honestly, there was no real thought. It was like, did you throw this together in a month? Because you didn't think about the legacy of the show. You didn't think about the legacy of the characters. You threw some stereotypes together about the projects, and then you used the Evans name to capitalize on that. So you wanted to do a racist cartoon or animation, and you used the Good Times name to do so. It was trash.
Yeah.
She took over from the original show. The original showrunner was Carl Jones.
And walked away.
So she from the original showrunner. So she had already been going while she came on. So maybe she was trying to save as much as she could.
But he said he walked away because of his artistic. Oh, okay, you almost popped out there. But artistic disagreements. So that led me to believe the writing or something was a problem. Anyway, that's my take on it.
I found 10 episodes before forming an opinion.
No, it wasn't worth it. It's not worth you watching 10 episodes. I watched 9.
And Seth MacFarlane never wrote one word of any of these scripts.
Say that again?
So you know.
You what?
Seth MacFarlane did not write one word of any of the scripts.
I didn't think that he did. And honestly, because I said to you, Tanya, I like Family Guy. And I know other people have issues with him or whatever. And that's why I was saying, like, as far as like development of the characters, there was so much that he could have did that it could have mirrored Family Guy or American Dad or something in a way to bring the comedy to it. It did not have to be gutter. And that's what this ended up being, is just a slap at the gutter. And
Carl Jones, the original showrunner, for the record, I was involved with Good Times Animated in the very beginning, but due to creative differences, I had to walk away. So he hasn't seen one episode of or script of the version of the show.
So she
came on with all the characters already in place. and she was there to land the plane, so to speak.
Oh, well, it's too bad it's coming hard on her, but anyway, moving on.
Yep. Well, so we're going to keep on the ratchet train because the
God.
Oprah Winfrey Network came out with a new dating show called the Never Ever Mets. So the premise of the show is you have, I think there are six or seven couples, I can't remember, that have been online dating for anywhere between 2 months up to 12 years. And they finally bring these couples into a house where they all live together. And it's, I guess they're going to have like some professionals on there to, therapists to, work with them. Yeah, but the premise of the show is you've got these people now that are face to face, and it's, is it going to last? I don't know how long they're there for, but at the end of the show, they're going to decide whether or not they're going to make it and keep going, or they're going to just part their ways. And when I tell you, as soon as it started, I was like, ooh, wait.
Yeah, because it's only one episode.
Yeah, only one episode in. And in the one episode, you already got the couple that's fighting, and the dude pushed his girl, like literally put his hands on her. Dominique, I think, is his name. Oh, yeah. It's
yeah, Alexis and Dominique. That was a lot.
That was a lot. He didn't, when they first saw each other, he wasn't like happy with how I don't think he was attracted to her, but I guess she kind of like, worked on him or whatever. He warmed up to him or what have you. But I guess they're both very jealous people. And when they get to the house, Alexis was talking to one of the other guys, and he got mad, and then he addressed it with her later on in the evening. They started fighting. Well, he started talking to another woman in the house, and then she got mad. That's how the argument started, and they were in each other's face. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And he pushed her. Like, she was all up in his personal space, and he just like pushed her. And I was like, oh, here we go. Did he kind of
like push her at the neck or something? Did he?
Yeah, he was like, I think it was like on the shoulders, neck, and he just pushed her away. And I was like, oof. It's, we're only one episode.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
I like the whole, I like the idea.
Yeah, I do like the idea. I'm not really fond of the host, though. I think they could have gotten someone better. But I'm going to give her grace and hope that, it's only one episode in. So I'm going to see how she does the remaining episodes. So,
yeah, I think she's going to be probably pretty much so hands off.
Yeah, it looks really interesting. I think it's going to be a little bit more ratchet than like Ready to Love. Like, I watch Ready to Love on OWN. Even though this season was a bit ratchet, but this one looks like it's going to be good and juicy. I can't wait. I kind of like, I want it to be so juicy, like they start messing with each other's significant others. Imagine that. Like, I came here because I've been dating you online for 12 years, and now I'm looking at homeboy over here, and he's looking at me, and I'm like, hey, you want to talk?
Yeah, what was that? That's Shay and Josh, that they had been dating online for 12 years and had never met.
12 years.
They're in Tennessee and Florida, of all places. It's just like 12? Everybody was shocked. But she seems like a very nice girl, a nice woman.
Yeah.
She seems like very nice, kind of nice.
Maybe not. Maybe they weren't dating. Maybe they were just like.
No, she said they both said they were like dating. It was just them. So I think she was more monogamous. He didn't say he was, but she definitely said that she was monogamous, and it was him that she had been waiting on.
Yeah. But he has young children, and that's what he was saying, that in Tennessee it was kind of, but I'm saying to myself, 12 years, man, like, you can't get away for a long weekend and fly your behind down to Florida?
You in Tennessee and she in Florida? Come on, that's what, 5 hours?
No, that's not 5 hours. Flight.
Yeah, because no, it's not. I don't know.
mean, he could drive. He could drive from Tennessee to Florida. That's like a hopper flight. A flight from Nashville or Memphis, wherever he's from, to Miami. Well, I forgot what part of Florida she's from, but I think it's South Florida, like close to Miami.
No,
Then
when
you
I
got
said
the
five,
two
I was talking about driving. He could drive to her.
Yeah, he could. But what about the couple in LA? They're both from LA.
Yeah.
And he's
Which
like,
one was
it's
that?
weird. I forgot their names. I should have wrote them down, but he's from LA and she's from LA, and I think they've been dating for like 3 or 4 months. And he kept saying, you know, oh, yeah, it's weird that we're from LA, but we're from the same city, but you know, she's
Million
over the
Gray.
mountain. So it seemed far from each other in LA. But I'm like, come on, if it's like an hour or two, just drive.
And they were dating 3 years in the same state?
Same
That's
city.
ridiculous.
Yep.
That don't make sense. I think they just wanted to get on
thing if
TV.
it's one thing if she's in San Francisco and he's in LA, but they're both in LA. So what's the longest drive to? I mean, I've been to LA a bunch of times. I'm like, if it's LA County, what's the longest drive somewhere? It could be what, like an hour and a half or so.
And that's what he said. He said it
Yeah.
was, they're still in LA County. It's just that she's on one side and then he's on the other. And this is 3 years. I thought it was just a couple of months. It's 3 years that they've been talking. That makes no sense.
None.
So I like the idea of the show. It comes on every Friday on OWN. And then the next day on, it's airing on Max.
Max, yeah. I like it so far, so I'm curious to see how it's going to play out. I'm interested in what they're going to have the couples do. Like, are they going to give them like tasks, or is it just? I'm curious. I can't wait for the second episode. Now watch that. Let's end this one on a bang. If y'all haven't watched this so-called reality show. What is it called? The Gerard? How do you pronounce that? Gerard?
I'm not saying nothing. I'll let y'all take it.
First of all, when I first saw his original stand-up, did you ever watch his first original stand-up show?
Yep.
On HBO? I thought it was brilliant. First of all, I thought he was a modern-day Richard Pryor because of his honesty and his approach to the truth. And the way his mind works in terms of saying the things that people think, but he really was. It was Chris. It was a beautiful, beautiful show. The Rothaniel one that he came out with was bold and daring, and he won an Emmy for writing for it. But the one thing I appreciated about this show was he does not hold anything back. There is nothing hidden. He is, and to be a person or a performer, to be that raw and exposed, even if it's a manipulated raw and exposure, to put yourself in a position to, as an artist myself, to do that. It reminded me of how crazy even Sacha Baron Cohen, how he does characters like Borat. And, you know, he puts himself into real life situations and has like the rawness that he has. I appreciate it, but he's kind of he's an asshole. He's an asshole. He's a real arrogant. He's brilliant. I think he's brilliant. I think he's smart, and I think he's funny. But it's a provocative fucking show. I can tell you that much. It is provided. You're like, wow, you are really, and you're really but it's truth. People are assholes. People are this way. People are this way, and some people don't see that in other people. They know it, but they don't see it. He shows it, and he doesn't make apologies for it either. So I have to give him, in terms of, from an artistic perspective, I have to give him his flowers, just because I'm like, well, I don't know if I could do that shit, but he's doing it, and he's really, because, you know, we all have family family things that you would not want. He's putting his daddy on blast on the show. He's putting his friends on blast on his true feelings about his friend when he's like, I wanted her. He's not afraid to show who he is. And for me, at least you got to give him the credit for like, okay, well, if he's going to be an asshole, that's his truth. Whatever his truth is, he says. So go ahead.
That's a good perspective. Go ahead, Tanya.
I respect it. I respect your stance on it. I don't like him. I'm sorry. I liked him when I liked the Gerard Carmichael show on NBC. I watched it. I liked it. I saw his first comedy special. I liked it. You know, if that's what he wants to do, put his truth out there, and that's fine. I don't have him being gay. My problem is he, like you said, Chris, he's an absolute asshole. As a person, you know, a person who wasn't raised by their parent, I have a lot of issues. I had a lot of issues with my parent, my absentee parent that wasn't in my life. And that was a choice he made. There are just some things I just wouldn't do. I just could not. That was so heartbreaking for me that he did that to his father, and the way he was talking to his father, he was just so there's a way I didn't like his tone. He was so dismissive. The fact that he was just arrogant. He was a dick. The way he says to his father, you know, so what, you bought him a house, you're paying for the house. Do you really? I don't like people like that. That's what I'm just trying to get out. Like he tells his father,
he did,
the house that I'm paying for, that you're living in. It's like, why you gotta, like, what's that all about? I just didn't like it.
His justification. The only thing about that part is his justification for that. He said he wouldn't be allowed in the house that he bought. I understand that part of it. He wasn't throwing, well, I bought. It wasn't an arrogant, well, I bought that house. He was like, I would want to be allowed to be accepted in the house that I'm paying for. I understand him on that. Him calling him out for that was one thing, but I understand his perspective is like, you know, I'm not even welcome in the house that I'm paying for. If you're paying for a house for your parents and they shun you for because of their religious beliefs and don't accept you as, and the father did kind of accept him a little bit more, but he was saying is initially when he can't have his boyfriend at the house that, you know, he's paying for because of their narrow views on homosexuality and not being open to him being gay.
Yeah, but I don't think that they were not open to him being gay. They were just, I never heard them say they were against him or he couldn't come home.
Okay, you got finished. Are you done?
I never heard that. I never heard that in the series that they said this, or unless there was some conversation off camera. Look, I didn't like the way he came across. When he was talking to his dad in the caravan or whatever the hell they were driving, it was like he was just trying to be so in your face with it. Like, you know, your father isn't, you know, or maybe doesn't like the fact you're gay, or he's trying to be accepting of you now. Like, do you need to see like your barely nude picture of all the pictures you have of your boyfriend? You show the picture of him barely nude, and then you're having these conversations with your father. It was like he was clearly trying to make this man uncomfortable, like throwing it in his face. Oh, you know, they got bears, twinks, this, that, and the other, and I'm like, this man don't want to hear about that bullshit.
Right.
Like, if you really want to heal, you should have just said to your father, what he should have did is take his father to a therapist. Him and his mother and father should have went and put it on camera and have family therapy and just hash it out there. I would have respected that more than setting your father up for a drive across the country to go to his hometown. And at that fire pit that you're having, you literally go off on him. And the father's like, I knew it. My heart broke for that father when he's sitting there. He's like, I knew it. I knew it. And when he said, I want to go home, I literally started crying because that was like, don't embarrass that man.
Yeah, but the reason why he did that is because his father had been cheating on his mother for years and had kids in the school
relationship. And she accepted it. That's not his business. Okay, let me just get my thoughts out real quick, and then we can go. Like, I don't think it had anything to do with the mother. It had to do with him, and I do feel that he was owed that conversation with his father. I always tell, I told my kids, and I feel like as adults, at one point in time, you are owed a very open conversation with your parent to say, I love you, but you did X, Y, and Z that I hope that I don't do. Or even praising them for what they did, but you definitely owe them some of the negative because some of that negative has formed and sat on you, and you do need to get it out. And I think this was his moment to get it out. The bad thing is that it was public. I did not like exactly what you said, Tanya. Of all the pictures, you wanted to provoke because you could have shown it would be like you showing him a picture of your woman just getting out the shower. Would you do that? No, you would not do that. So you would definitely
you wouldn't necessarily speak to your. That's just who Jerrod Carmichael is as a person in terms of being. I wouldn't do it either. I agree with you. I wouldn't do that either. I would have respect on this, that, and the other. But that's not who this dude is. And the only reason he had that conversation with his parents is in front of the camera.
Oh yeah, and he did say that made him comfortable. That gave him the big balls. But in the same instance, if that's the only way that you can do something, you still need to take into consideration who these people are. And I think his father was very giving and trying very hard to bridge some kind of gaps with him. Mm-hmm. And that's why he showed him the naked picture. That's why he went on about the twinks and all this other stuff, because he wanted to make it hard. There's obviously animosity there. And it is because one thing he said was, my father had better fun with the other family. So he didn't feel like, even though he was in the house, he doesn't feel like he got the love and attention. And I'm quite sure those other boys don't feel the same. They probably feel the same way too. Nobody's going to get what they think the other side is getting. The grass is never greener on the other side. He just has in his head that it was. And you want to meet your brothers and you want to talk about that relationship. I get it, but again, I don't think it has anything to do with the mother. It has to do with his feelings and how he felt kind of like dismissed. And one of the things he said, it was like he always wanted the respect of his father. He wanted to be seen by his father. And so now he's in the opportunity. He has the money, has the means, he has the spotlight, and he can give a good dig to that man. And that's what he did. Mm-hmm. So do I like the whole thing with his best friend, or, I get it. And the way he did it.
Wait, remind us with the best friend?
When he put the blindfolds on and he didn't want her living in his house instead of having a real conversation. And then, saying he owes her honesty. But mm-hmm. She knows he's an asshole, and they've been friends forever. So she knows he's an asshole. And I can see me being friends with him and knowing him, long handled spoon for me. But the reason why I say that that he did her so wrong is you set her up in that beautiful apartment and then you only paid a month's rent. You need to, you didn't see that part? He's like, I didn't tell her that was only for a month. So she's going to be scrambling. Where's she going to live after that month is over?
I thought that
be
was
honest.
mean-spirited.
That was me. He's an asshole. No, we've established he is an asshole. He did some assholish things.
And what he did with the wedding, when he was in his friend's wedding, you see that one, his so-called best friend,
and missed it.
And then he shows up and he was just rude about that too. And you just don't do that to people. Like if that was my goddamn wedding and he shows up number one late and then he's not wearing the proper attire for my wedding, he wouldn't be in my wedding. I don't give a fuck if you're Denzel Washington. I don't give a fuck about him to do it. I don't give a shit about your money. I don't give about how popular you are. If we are friends and I ask you to stand up for me and be in my wedding, and this is the shit you pull, we're done here. Yeah. We're done. You can't do that. I get it. That's his shtick. He's an asshole, but he's not a good friend.
No. We're not. I'm not excusing his being a good. He is an asshole. But what I at least appreciate about the show is he's showing as all of his ass as an asshole. Yeah. I mean, he is showing every single bit of him not being afraid to show that he is a complete asshole.
My thing too was and this is the prude coming out in me, all the sex offline, just hooking up. I was shocked to see that. It's like you discovered, you decided to come out and say that you were gay, and then you just went for this free for all. Sir, that's not a good look.
Well,
that is,
you know what?
Not a good look.
That didn't shock me because I have a couple of gay friends, and one that lives in LA, and well, he's married now, but before that, they do that. Like that whole Grindr thing, and just like random, like seeing someone cute and randomly, sending the message, and they're at their door within an hour or two. That's really nice. That wasn't shocking. Yeah, when he was sucking his toes. I have two friends that have done that, and one still does. But it's like that wasn't surprising for me. And I get it. He's trying to catch up. He's like, he came out at what? How old was he when he said he came out? 30. Yeah, 30. So I get it that he's out there sowing his oats, and he's free, and he's rich, and he's famous, and he can basically do what he wants. It
was a lot.
It was a
lot. It was a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah.
It's a whole hell of a lot.
Very entertaining.
But artistically, for him to show, he is not is what I'm saying is he is not hiding from shit. He is showing all of his ass. So artistically, in terms of him, if he's gonna show it, he fucking shows that shit.
Yeah.
He really fucking. I was like, God damn, dude. I was like pull back a little. Like it's like I'm showing you. You want to see my asshole? He's like, Wah! I'm like, damn. I was like, woo. So for me as an artist as well, to see it was like, yo, like, he's like,
I gave you a laugh track.
No, I respect it. I respect, him putting his whole self out there. I can't wait for this.
I liked it because it was entertaining. It was very entertaining. But yeah, like you, Tanya, I can't say that as a person. I wouldn't want to be his friend, long handle spoon, if he ever had a project and he was like, Shahida, do you want to be a part of this project? I don't know, because how you going to treat me?
But you know how he's going to treat you. But you know how he's going to treat you.
Yeah.
His best friend growing up, they know he's an asshole. They know.
That's what I'm saying. They've accepted it. So he gets away with how he treats his best friends and family.
That's right.
Because they have already established this relationship. And I feel like the woman, she's going to be fine when she finds out at the end of the month that she ain't got no place to stay unless she can fork up that money. She'll be mad for a little bit, and then they'll be friends again.
But you know what? I honestly, I don't think that. I think some of it, as Tanya was saying before too, he's being so I'm trying to figure out the balance between him being real, raw, open, something other, and also just a hint of pushing it in terms of comedy, or pushing it a little bit, showing his father, telling his father about twinks and bears, this and the other, was on the comedy spectrum of it, as opposed to the having a true conversation with his father, if that makes any sense. Like when he's on stage.
Did he freeze?
Oh yeah, he froze.
For me?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Freeze for a minute.
Froze. Yeah, you froze for a minute.
Oh shit! I was saying when he does his comedy, he's being real, but then he also, as a comedian, pushes it. Am I frozen again?
No.
He pushes it. No, he pushes it to a certain extent. He pushes and pushes and pushes. So showing, we're going, why would you show your father, talk to your father about twinks and this, that, and the other? He likes that being provocative for an audience, not being real. I mean, he's being real, but how real is he being? So when he said, when she finds out I only paid for a month, I don't really know if I don't believe he's that much of an asshole. I think he probably paid for 6 months. Me personally. But he said only a month because we'd be like, what an asshole. Does that make sense? I think there's a balance between showing him being so real and raw and who he really is, but really he's not. Girl, I got you. For some reason, I feel like he has he said, I'm only paying for a month, because to me that's funny and that's provocative. But I bet you he didn't. I bet you he paid for 6 months or a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't really know, because we don't know what's real and what's fake. Even though it seems as real as possible, he's probably doing things just to, you know what I mean? Just to make us watch the show and talk about it.
Yeah.
He's probably an asshole, but not that much of an asshole, but he's portraying that much of an asshole. So for you to go, what an asshole. He's probably just a little bit of an asshole to his friends. He missed the thing. He's like, oh, you know what I mean? Or even if he missed his friend.
That whole wedding thing, that's a huge asshole.
Right. You're right. I mean,
and very selfish. And so he's showing that level of who he is, that selfishness, which I just think is who he is.
But did you notice that when he came and did the thing for the friend who's the marriage, the friend wasn't as angry as I would have thought he would have been. So I don't know if he made up for it some way in reality and said, I'm doing a show. I'm sorry I missed your wedding. I'm going to make it up to you. I'm going to pay for something. I'm going to do something extravagant for you because you're my friend. Because when he showed up and he's like, you want to give the eulogy here? No one's here. He's like, okay, well, it was kind of much more forgiving as opposed to, oh, well, Jared's an asshole, but he did give me a $35,000 something for me, a vacation for me and my wife. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He made up for it somewhere. So it's showing him as the asshole that he is, but I don't know how much provocative asshole he's doing for the show. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, we'll see in the next episode that airs, I think tomorrow, because when I saw the preview, it shows him and his best friend getting together and having a conversation. So I'm curious to see that. But
and even Tyler, the Creator, is that type of person too. Tyler, the Creator, is kind of an asshole as he is in that asshole vein, and that's why they kind of like each other. But even when he said I'm in love with him, I'm not exactly sure how much I believe that he was really in love with him. His best, you know what I mean? Or how much it is for the show. You know, how it's blurring the lines between a show and being, him being truly who he is. So who knows? Like Andy Kaufman, or people who did shit like, he wouldn't really do that, would he? I guess he would do. I mean, it's weird to have someone. Anyway, it's just interesting to me. He's trying to be so provocative that it's like, wow, you're really an asshole. And are you really an asshole?
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
we'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it ends. I don't know how many episodes for this season are, so we shall see. That's all we got.
I'm gonna watch his comedy stand up because I have never seen his stand up.
You gotta watch the first one. I'll send you the first one. It was. I was like, yo, this dude it was brilliant. To me, it was brilliant in terms of just his keen observations and saying shit that people think, but with a really sharp. He's a very sharp wit. Very sharp.
Like that race joke that he did. The whole his boyfriend teaching him how to read, and it's like him being a slave and the boyfriend being the master.
Right. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
But it's provocative. It's provocative funny. It's provocative in terms of like 8 episodes. By the way, it's only 8 episodes.
Yeah, I provocative funny. I mean, like, what does that mean exactly? Because it's something that is kind of tasteless that you wouldn't like, think to get people like moaning and groaning, but it wasn't funny. It wasn't funny.
But I don't know.
Provocative without any humor to it.
Yeah, but see, that's the whole thing.
It was going to be funny.
Sometimes he's just
going to be funny.
No, I don't know, but sometimes he's just provocative. Sometimes he's provocative and funny. Sometimes he's just funny. There's different shades of, anyway.
I'll watch.
It's funny either.
Yeah.
Could see where he would. It's just so provocative and so out there. Like Paul Mooney has said some shit that you're like, God damn, Paul Mooney. Like, Paul Mooney's comedy was. It's that almost type of thing where
thought provoking. Like, I don't know his. I'm just going on that one joke, or not that one joke, but the jokes that he told throughout this, and I didn't find them that funny. Now, Paul Mooney was provocative, but thought provoking and intelligent. And I'm not saying that he's not.
In his stand up in his show, but I bet you if you saw Paul Mooney in a reality show like this, it would be the same type of thing where or even Richard Pryor, where he's saying shit that's not necessarily funny, but it's pushing. Gerard Carmichael is pushing the boundaries of shit, whether they're hitting or missing. He's still pushing no matter what. He's still throwing punches. It's like someone who's throwing punches like this. Like, one of them is gonna land, but the rest of them, like, you look fucking crazy. Does that make sense? I'm talking about it from our artistic standpoint. It's like not everything's gonna land, but as opposed to being like, punching like this and then getting hit, hitting somebody, as opposed to someone coming out and just being a barrage of crazy shit.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how this lands for him.
See. We'll have to circle back.
I'm definitely locked in for the 8, but I know you said you liked his the Gerard Carmichael show that was on with Loretta Devine and everything. I didn't care for it that much. I think I watched maybe a couple episodes, but it wasn't laugh out loud funny to me. Like Abbott Elementary is laugh out loud funny.
That's a different type of show too.
I know. But so we'll see. We'll see how this plans for him.
Gerard Carmichael show was more like All in the Family, where All in the Family was not necessarily laugh out loud funny, but the characters and the depth and the shit that they were saying, it's like, oh, that Archie Bunker's an asshole. He's not even funny at all, but it's funny because he's such an asshole. It was the same type of vein with the Gerard Carmichael show.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Toned down for TV, and now that he's like, this type of thing, he can, it's really interesting. It's just really interesting to me that he can be so fucking does not care. Does not make sense about anybody else, but he just says what he wants to. There's something said about that. Anyway, for me at least. I don't like him. I'm qualifying it. He's an asshole. I'm not justifying his actions. He's an asshole. You're an asshole. I'm like, yeah, you're an asshole. But how much are you an asshole? I mean, you're an asshole, but how much of an asshole are you, and how disrespectful can you be to your father? How fucking disrespectful can you be to your father? And are you doing that? Does that make sense? There's a fine line between this. Anyway, I know I'm just beating the dead horse. But.
He makes it very easy for me not to like him personally. I
just don't like him either. That's what I like about it too. Yeah. He's not a likable person, and he knows it.
No. And I can't wait I'm waiting and I'm hoping that there's an episode where his mother surfaces. And, instead of just being on the phone with him, I want to see the episode when his mother surfaces, like, in his face. Because I want to see if he gives her that same venom that he gave his father.
I'll send you a good article about it, too. Did I send it to you yet?
Yeah,
I'll send
you sent with the Charles Blow article.
Yeah. And also, I think, remember, his friend even said, the one who came in the mask, which I think is Bo Burnham, who came in the mask and the goggles that you couldn't see his face. He said, this is all bullshit. This is all bullshit. You think it's real, but it's all bullshit. There was something to be said, it's curated for the show. Yeah. But how much anyway.
Who do you think it is?
Yes.
No, who do you think it is with the mask?
Bo Burnham.
Who?
Bo Burnham.
I never heard of him.
You never watched the Bo Burnham is a director. He's on Netflix. Go watch his all during pandemic. He wrote, produced, edited a whole show of himself in his apartment, and it's an hour and a half show, and it's weird, and it's weird. Go on Netflix and watch the Bo Burnham thing on Netflix, and you'll get an idea of the type of. He's a performance artist, but he's a comedian, but he's a musician, and he did this whole thing with all this setup in his camera over pandemic by himself, and it was some of it is really funny, some of it is really kind of weird, but you should watch it. It's interesting. But he's a director as well. He directs weird shit, and I could see him being that person, and that's probably who it was.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, I guess we'll end it here. We'll see you guys next week, and until then.
So what day are we moving our days for release? So people would know. Are we doing every Monday or every Friday?
Yeah, it'll be out on Monday. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Peace out.
All right.
Oh, we're done. Okay, I didn't want to say anything until. Are we still recording? It looks like it's still recording.